Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. I said, in this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. You make this parade a mere charade if you're marching just for fun. Our troops must feel your thanks for real before the marching is done. They know side by side you can match their stride to the drum beat and the brass, but they're not impressed with you unless you can match their stride in class. This may not sound too diplomatic, but I cannot be more emphatic as I tell you, it's problematic when you do less than your best. Especially when it's because you put your brilliance on pause for the mere peer applause it draws from a so-called friend doing less. Quit playing, I'm saying, you know that you are great, and we know it, so show it. Don't make our heroes wait. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. For those of you who already do the things that make us proud, your nation in appreciation says thanks to you out loud. Your schoolmates should imitate the way you tap your potential. Let me try to convince them why their effort is essential. Our men and women in uniform, before, during, and after Desert Storm, always perform above the norm, anywhere and everywhere on the planet. They need to follow our heroes' lead, but they cannot lead if they cannot read. Allow me, please, to plant this seed. Don't take freedom for granted. I'm serious, I'm furious to see U.S. schools behind. Remove the clatter, it's just a matter of our making up our minds. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. We believe in you, warriors protect you to do what you must to rise. Please do your part. Please start before another warrior dies. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. They sacrifice for you. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. Please.
Good afternoon and welcome to Wave Your Grades on KUAW.org, the academic patriotism program that is dedicated to veterans and serious secondary scholars. I am your announcer, KUAW Wilson. Now here is our host, civilian urban educator, Carl Boyd.
Thank you so very much. Good afternoon and welcome to Wave Your Grades. We are on KUAW.org. Wave Your Grades is a program that is dedicated to those who serve, those who have served, and are serving. And the reason it is called Wave Your Grades is because we ask students, not only when they welcome those who have been deployed home by waving the flag, we suggest that our young people should indeed devote excellence to those who make it possible for them to become excellent. So we say don't just wave the flag, wave your grades, wave your community service, wave your leadership, wave your turnaround if you're doing better now than you had been doing. We call this program Wave Your Grades. And we have a very, very special guest this afternoon, not for the first time, but there are some new things on the horizon about which we will speak. And Emma Toops, after I welcome you, I'm going to ask the founder of KUAW.org, Mr. Louis George Walker, to make an announcement and then come back to you. But first, let me say to you, welcome to Wave Your Grades.
Thank you, Carl. I am happy to be back, and share what's going on with me, and I am excited to hear what is going on with you in your program.
Well, thank you very, very much. We're going to go into it, but let me tell you what is exciting about it. We intend to follow the lead of the gentleman who is about to come on and talk about KUAW. And the reason is because the fare that comes across the microphones that we are borrowing for this day is deep, it is numerous, it is meaningful, and we are about to launch a movement, as it were, as it relates to students dedicating excellence to those like Emma Toops, who indeed have served, so that you'll understand the scope of KUAW.org. We have asked founder Mr. Louis George Walker to welcome us and inform us. Louis George Walker, please.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to everyone that's listening to KUAW Radio. We're so glad that you could join us on this show this morning. Be sure and listen to Wave Your Grades with Mr. Carl Boyd every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. Now, you're listening on KUAW Radio. KUAW, you can pick us up on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and Twitch. You can also pick us up online on the online radio bot, on the TuneIn app if you have the TuneIn app, on Get Me Radio, on My Tuner, and on a smart speaker. If you have a Google or Amazon smart speaker, tell it to play KUAW, and you should be able to pick that up. So we're in a lot of ways. If you've got a what I want to say, if you got a Apple and Roku, you can pick us up on that. So there's a lot of ways to listen to KUAW Radio. We're glad that you're with us today and continue to listen to KUAW. Thank you.
Thank you so very, very. Ooh, I'm sorry. Am I on? Okay, thank you so very, very much, Louis George Walker. We will continue to be talking about programming, and we are blessed to have our own program this afternoon. So, let me start by saying once again the name of our very special guest, Emma Toops, because I think that there might be the name David added to the name Emma during the month of June. Emma Toops, why would I do that?
Well, the month of June is pretty significant for David and me. David is my husband, but also June is significant in a similar way because of being in the military. So June is our birthday month. The Army's birthday was yesterday, which was also David's birthday, and my birthday was on Thursday, the 13th.
So happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday.
Yes, thank you.
And my understanding is that you share more than a birthday when it comes to your outlook on work that is helpful to veterans and others. So let me ask you initially, currently, things that you are doing. Then I'm going to take you back to a little bit of history and bring us back up to the present.
Okay. Well, I have a weekly newsletter.
Yes.
And my newsletter this week actually kind of focused on the fact that it is our birthday week,
Yes.
David's, mine, and the Army's. And my newsletter always has a quote of the week. And that quote is something that I speak a little bit to as far as the takeaway or kind of personal growth tip for why it's quotable. So what I had used in this week's newsletter had to do with learning and kind of learning from your past, living in your present, and hoping for your tomorrows. And a birthday is a good kind of way to have a regular routine in thinking about those things. You're a year older. What have you learned? What have you done? Where have you come from? In a year's time, what are you doing in the present as far as your life and your work and your family and your relationships and your health? And then the hope for tomorrow is, well, you're continuing to, you know, take steps in the world, affect people, hopefully in a good way, and hopefully continue to grow in who you are and what you are about. So that is, I think, why you brought up kind of today and my birthday,
Yes.
our birthdays, because it's something that everybody experiences every year. And because of that, you can make it be a good habit if you don't already consider where you're coming from, where you are, and where you're going.
Well, let me ask you, as we continue to talk about the things that you're doing and making available to others, how someone who hears us now, who might want to join you in what you're doing beyond just the newsletter. So, how does one, in fact, become a part of what you are doing?
The business that David and I do it's a knowledge business. We are educators,
Wow.
and depending on who we are working with, we are classroom instructors, or we might be a private tutor. We might
Oh,
be an academic or a career coach. And sometimes we are consultants to an organization. And a lot of the time it has to do with improving knowledge or improving communication or something to this effect. Um, David's background is in computer science. Mine, prior to the business that we do now, was in the military. So there's a lot of soft as well as hard skills inherent in our experience that we can offer. And I'm writing a book. Actually, I've written it already. It is in production. It's with the publishers now, and
great.
it'll release August. But the value of time and experience, having lived and learned, is that you can pass on what you have learned to others. And that's what David and I do
Yes.
in our business, in our work. But I've taken it a step further by writing a book, because
Yes.
now the impact that I might make by sharing what I know, where I've been, what I learned, it can have a far-reaching effect.
No doubt.
Um, so that's something that's really exciting for us in our work. And this year has been a year of celebrations because of things within the family, with birthdays and graduations, significant events with wedding anniversaries, and me becoming an author. So,
Wow, outstanding.
um,
Let me do
really
this
good.
very quickly before Louis George Walker gets away from us. I am remembering 816 599 6893. Thank you so very, very much. Emma Toops, I am asking that those who are listening, who want to get the information from you as to how to contact you, they may call into the program at 816 599 6893 today. But tomorrow, after having heard the program, next week, next month,
Mhm.
you mentioned it is absolutely, you amaze me because you might teach a class, you might do a seminar, you might keynote a conference, but you are saying even to the point of tutorial assistance. So I'm sure we want to know how to get in touch and keep in touch with you and David.
We have our company website.
Yes.
So that is www.toopsconsulting.com. And because I am writing a book, there's actually a page on my website. If you add a slash book, BOOK, to the toopsconsulting.com address, then it'll bring you to the information that describes my book. And there's also on that book page, there is a button that people can subscribe to the newsletter. And so they can receive our weekly emails for invitations and the newsletter. And you can also contact me via email. I would love to hear from people as far as any questions that they may have, any help I might be able to just give in a response to an email. And my email is emma@toopsconsulting.com.
That is so wonderful, wonderful. Emma at toopsconsulting.com. And you know that I have a personal prejudice, that being giving honor to those who have served. I am a civilian, and I know many outstanding civilian educators who indeed tutor and go to conferences and those kinds of things. But I think that in the United States of America, it makes eminent sense for our children, our young people, our teens and young adults to dedicate their excellence to those who have served and who are serving. For the services that you render, do you and David Toops call upon some of those things you were involved with, learned, and practiced in the military in your present endeavors?
Yes, there's we call them soft skills in the career and work environment.
Yes, ma'am.
But soft skills are those things that have to do with how you relate and interact with people. It's not that you can do math. It's not that you can weld. It's not that you can cook. Those are hard skills that are learned, technical skills. Soft skills are the things like being a good communicator, being a leader, having emotional awareness, having integrity, having empathy. Those are things that we teach. And those are things that people develop over time if they practice them. And so in our military, there is a culture of service and high character.
Yes.
And there is a expectation of high performance in your technical skills. But there's also an expectation of high level of character and soft skills by being a good leader, being a mentor, being cognizant of risk and managing time and stress and your health. Those are all things that can be taught.
This is so wonderful. And by the way, with Brother Lewis George Walker still being in the room, and KUAW Wilson, who indeed is our producer, engineer, announcer, and co-host. She has many hats. The lights that shine so that we can see each other are bright, and I don't always see you leaning into the microphone, so I wanted KUAW Wilson and Lewis George Walker to chime in at any point, even if I don't see you coming close to the microphone, because the information being shared is important too, and for us all. So this is Emma at toopsconsulting.com. Do you find yourself confined locally, or do you travel well beyond the greater Kansas City and Kansas community?
I have, in the last year or so, done most of my work locally in Kansas City, in the metro area.
Great.
But because of technology, I have had coaching students via Zoom that were in other parts of the country. And I've actually also have done a program. It was called the Purple Connection. I'm not doing it now, but I had guests that were on my program who were in other countries and participated in the program. But one of the things that I have also realized is becoming a published author, geography no longer becomes an issue as far as who I may affect, because my book will be available as a ebook and it'll also be available as a print book. So where people will be able to get a copy of it is wherever they are. And so it's just a matter of becoming aware of the resources that are available. I want to be more accessible as far as who I may support in the knowledge that I have and am wanting to share. And I think people maybe limit themselves as far
Yeah.
as how impactful their experience can be because of geography. Technology has widened that to where it shouldn't be an issue any longer if you're able to do your work virtually. And with knowledge, you can.
Well,
E- Emma,
that
what's the name of your book?
My book is called Wait What? And that's the primary title. The subtitle is The Success Formula for When Life Plays Out Differently Than You Expected.
now we will ask Sister DeQuay Wilson that she repeat that. It's the word wait, comma, what, question mark. So
Yes,
just repeat what you said again and the sentence that goes with it.
sure. So the primary title is Wait, What? And the subtitle is The Success Formula for When Life Plays Out Differently Than You Expected.
Now, one of the things that I would follow up with, in as much as, you know what, I have made an assumption all of this time we have known each other that the three of us are civilians. That's not necessarily so. I was getting ready to say, in as much as DeQuay is a civilian, as am I, but that may or may not be so.
That is so.
But the reason that is important from my perspective is because those soft skills, hard skills about which you spoke resonate with those of us who are civilians. Now, I would ask further about age because we work with students, primarily secondary students, starting at about seventh grade. And in the robotics competition and those kinds of things, Lewis George Walker, those youngsters are as young as 8 years old. So their
Okay.
teachers and their parents will
Yes.
want to call upon you as they work with their children, but it might also be comfortable for some of those who are in school. What is
Mhm.
the grade range or age range you address?
In my book, I actually, at the beginning of the book, have a a few pages where I talk about why did I write this book and who is this book for,
Hmm.
and how do you use this book? Because it's a combination of personal growth instruction. So there's some technical concepts that I instruct, but then there's also personal stories where I
Oh,
share examples of the concept in practice. And the stories that I share are when I was a young adult. I was 19 years old when I went to airborne school, and I was 22 years old and a brand new second lieutenant when I went to air assault school. And so my stories are of a young person, but the concepts, the success formula, and what I refer to as the transition puzzle paradigm, which is a way of thinking, is a framework that I describe and instruct in the book. Those are applicable whatever age you are.
wow.
And so for anybody who is already past early age, maybe they're middle age or they're more mature and maybe looking at what to do after they finish their corporate, career and they want to do more community work or whatever the case may be as far as where they are in the stage of life, the success formula and the puzzle paradigm are applicable universally. But my intended audience for Wait What are young people because that phrase is very
Okay.
often used when you're surprised.
Yes.
You have to pause and consider and then maybe decide, but younger people say it more often because there's more things that surprise them.
Well, let me say to Wilson and Walker, 19 years old, airborne school. What are we prone to say? Wait, what? So it is understandable how that might apply where young people are concerned in a number of different ways. And lady and gentlemen, let me read something that is in front of me. Emma Toops, I'm reading. The number one mistake people make about pursuing success is they think what they have or get is only directly due to their efforts. Then I might read, learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning. That's only two examples of the advice or those nuggets that you allow us to share. Where do they come from, and how do you use them?
People who have experienced a variety of things in life or
Yes.
school, in
Yes.
relationships, and in career, it's because of that exposure to new things that we have the depth of knowledge that we have. If you never explore, if you never meet new people, if you never try new things, if you never get challenged, then that depth of knowledge that you have to refer to when something new or different does happen, it's it's smaller. That database is smaller. And so you don't have as great capacity to address whatever the new unexpected challenge is. But even if your reservoir of knowledge is small because you're a young person, doesn't mean that you cannot access the reservoir of knowledge of other people.
Ooh,
Other
yes.
people, okay? When you're a young person, other people include your parents and your teachers and your friends. And that's who you normally access when it comes to things that are confusing, things that are surprising, things that are different, right, in your experience. When you leave home and now it's you and the world, people, for whatever reason, fail to continue in that understanding that the reservoir of knowledge is not just what's in your own head. You
Wow.
can turn to others for help, for access to what they know and their expertise and their knowledge if it's something that they have that you do not, and they trust you to share it.
Let me ask you if you would please hold on through a break, and
Sure.
while we defer to DeQuay Wilson, I would ask you to think about this question, if you would. When we think about your vast array of knowledge and your service performed already, we think that clientele and experiences might be elitist. So please
Mhm.
contemplate some of the surprises you might have had among ordinary people doing extraordinary things. But while you contemplate, let us defer now to our announcer, DeQuay Wilson.
It is time to remind our 7th through 8th grade students that you can win a monetary award from our sponsoring organization. Yes, we say organization on purpose, with purpose. Stutes for Boots. Your essay title will be Heroes You Know You Didn't Know Were Heroes. Your content will identify a veteran at your school who can be absolutely anyone: custodian, teacher, coach, cafeteria worker, absolutely anyone. If your essay is chosen and submitted by an adult who gives you permission to read it on this Waive Your Grades program, you will be awarded a monetary prize. Please send your entry or inquiry to stootsforboots@gmail.com. That is STOOTSFORBOOTS@gmail.com. Now back to our host, Carl Boyd.
Thank you so very, very much. This is Waive Your Grades. You have just heard from our producer, engineer, announcer, co-host, KUAW Wilson. My name is Carl Boyd, your host. We are blessed this afternoon to have Emma Toops. That is Emma at toopsconsulting.com, and you are a font of knowledge in so many different ways. But let me tell you, when we think, there's a quote that we do in sales. I'm not a salesperson, but at least I've heard them make this observation as a quote: OPM, other people's money. And they talk about how they can become wealthy by being intelligent about using other people's money. We have and are hearing from an expert this afternoon who has just introduced us to other people's experiences, other people's knowledge. We can learn so much. Have there been any surprises, and are you working with those who are elite or all kinds of clientele? Emma Toops.
Oh, yes. Yes. I work with adults and I've worked with students. I think the youngest student I've ever had was a third grader.
Wait, what?
Yeah. And I was helping him when I was a teacher at the Huntington Learning Center, and with just things that for an adult is very easy. It's just reading and phonics and things like that. I've also worked with folks who are middle-aged and they're coming out of the military and having challenges as far as the transition in career and life and what next after having served for 20 years. So the variety of people that I've worked with has been, decades in between as far as age, and even the levels of influence as far as I've worked with people who own their own business, and I've worked with people who are just young people who are still in grade school. So the level of influence or reputation of the people that I've worked with has also been varied. But the concepts that I teach in the success formula and the puzzle paradigm, they're universal based on context. So if the context of your situation is that you have a huge amount of resources and you have influence and reputation, but what you don't have is understanding or awareness of a new segment of the market, well, then it doesn't matter that you have all that influence and reputation and experience. But if your experience is in something else, then you're literally a young child in that new endeavor. So there's room to grow. There's room to learn. And sometimes pride and ego gets in the way when you are very experienced and influential in your own space. But think about this. If you've ever been a tourist to a foreign country, do you prepare to go or do you just go?
Very good question.
You prepare to go if
Very
you
good
know that
question.
it is a different culture. They wear something different because it's winter here, it's summer there, or they talk a different language. You kind of determine what are some of the basic things that you need to know in order to not inadvertently offend anyone, and that you can better fit in so that it's not so obvious that you are a tourist, right?
Absolutely.
So it's just recognizing that there is two halves to the puzzle, and I share this in the book. I describe it as far as the puzzle concept, because there's half of it that is you and your self-awareness, but then there's half of it as far as the space that you show up in, right? if what you understand and are comfortable in is the space that you've always been in, when you have a change in your life, in your career, or in your relationships, whatever that context is for the change, you are in a different environment. And are the rules the same? Is the language the same? Are the expectations by other people
Ooh, this
for
is
how
so
you
good.
encounter and engage with them, are they the same? And if they are not, then you literally have half a puzzle that you don't understand.
This is so good. And by the way, I always rely upon DeQuay Wilson for the salient questions that need to be asked. And one that she did that put us on this path was for information about your book. So please, back to DeQuay's question. We want to repeat this, and we may do it again before the program is over. We're talking about what book, how we can access it, and why you wrote it. One more time, please.
My book is Wait What? It's
I love that title.
the subtitle is The Success Formula for When Life Plays Out Differently Than You Expected. It releases in August, and it'll be available as a print book as well as an ebook. And part of the reason why I wrote this was actually a year ago. It was in June last year.
Oh, wow.
I met a veteran, and I was describing to him my work with this puzzle paradigm, and that kind of like how you had asked, who do you work with? I was like, well, I work with students and I work with adults. And he zeroed in on the fact that I work with students, even though he's a veteran himself. And I've helped people who are coming out of the service to reintegrate into a new career and a new community and this and that. He just kind of jump skipped over that whole being a veteran part and just zeroed in on the part where I said I work with students. And he said, how do you work with students? And I said, well, usually in a one-on-one relationship where I have, they have a goal in their academics, maybe they're struggling with a subject, and I'm a tutor or an academic coach. And so I'm just helping them get past whatever their barrier is to their success. And I described the puzzle paradigm, that there's part of it that's self-awareness. Who are you and what are you about? You need to have confidence, you need to have drive. But then the other half of the puzzle is the environment that you're in. If you're going on to middle school from elementary school, it's not the same, right? You show up the same and you're not necessarily going to fit in. You're not going to necessarily meet expectations because they're different, right? The environment's different. But when I described to him that most of my work was one-on-one work by being a private tutor, he asked me, do you ever teach in classrooms? I said, sure, but most of the time my students are adults. And it's like, his suggestion, and he was pretty adamant about it, was, Emma, this puzzle paradigm thing of yours, this is so good.
Yes.
But and he said,
yes,
but you need to teach it to kids. And I said, what do you mean? When he uses the word kids, he's like 20 years older than me, and his kids are in their 30s.
Yes.
And so in his mind, and when he says kids, he's talking about someone under the age of 30. And he was saying, Emma, you got to get this puzzle thing of yours in front of kids. Share it in groups. And he started asking me what kind of group activities I do with children, with young people. He started naming some nonprofits. He started talking about community organizations like coaching and scouts and athletics and stuff like this. And when I said, well, you know what, I've been thinking about becoming a substitute teacher, he said, yes, you got to do that. But he was so energetic and emphatic about, Emma, you need to start teaching this puzzle thing of yours to kids.
Yes.
And I thought about it, and gosh, it stuck with me so much that I decided after that conversation, he's right. I'm going to get my substitute teaching license. I'm going to start teaching in more classrooms or do more things to encounter and engage with young people. And it's also what encouraged me to write a book, because how do you get your message further than past your own two lips? You know people and they talk about who you are, kind of like what you're doing, but you also write your message down. That's how you get it in front of more people.
Well, let me tell you, I can understand from where this person was coming, because it's almost in anticipation of what I will refer to as my own Emma dilemma. And from my standpoint, it is not only the range of your audience, but how do we create more of you? So that does your service include the tutorial aspects, and is there something in your future that would allow the me's of the world to become the you's of the world?
Yes. I mean, being an educator, that's what you're doing, is you're trying to replicate
Yes.
more quickly, right? More quickly, people who know what you know, right? And when you are an effective educator, your students usually remember when they have that profound
Ooh.
idea
Yes.
or decision that puts them on a path.
Yes.
This conversation that I had with this veteran was a year ago, but I would venture to guess that in 20 years, I'll still be referring to this veteran that I met a year ago
Yes.
and giving him credit for putting me on a certain path.
Wow.
And teachers will do that. Teachers who do that usually is because they put that student on a certain path that then they are on for a significant amount of their life. I remember things from when I was in grade school or high school or college, something my mom or my dad said where it was so profound that it set me on a certain path.
I'll tell. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Good teachers do that. Good teachers will do that. And that's what we ought to all be doing.
I was telling somebody that there was a very prominent individual with whom I worked in the city of Chicago. And the person is well known and is a leader. And he and I did not always agree, but we have a very good relationship. But one of the things I attempted to explain in terms of our difference philosophically, this was a person who believed in strong leadership and determined that a leader is not strong unless causing others to follow.
Yeah.
I suggested that I believe in strong teachership, and a teacher is not successful unless causing others to surpass.
Yes.
So that the idea is not to clone me, but to create in you the capacity to go beyond wherever I might have gone. Otherwise, we're traveling backwards.
Yes, I share this in the book, and I say it all the time to my students, whether they're young folks or folks my age or older. I tell them, don't do it the way I did it, do it better.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I did it the way I did it because I didn't know better, and it was what it was for the lessons that I learned and for the growth that I gained from that experience.
Wow.
But you don't have to live the pain and have the worries and have the needless concerns and confusion that I experienced, because I've already done it. I've already been there. I've already done it.
Yes.
Take the good that I have learned and get that from me, so you don't have to have that same live and learn experience for the pain that it might have been for me. Don't do it the way I did it, do it better. And you can do it better because you take out all of that pain and
That's so
confusion
wonderful.
and hurt and those things, and then you start at a higher level as far as your baseline. And then from there,
Thank you.
you have that ability to do it better.
That is so key. That is so wonderful. DeQuay Lewis, let me know. I have another question for our very special guest, but come right on in when you need to. And this is what I would like to say to Emma Toops, and do not forget Emma at toopsconsulting.com. And let me tell you why you are so important from my perspective. I am a civilian. I am an octogenarian. March 3rd was my 82nd birthday. So I can go back far enough as a civilian to talk about such terms as, quote, shell-shocked, unquote. And so that it eventually gave way to the terminology PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder. We are also, Emma Toops, in the throes of an era, and of course that's ERA, but sometimes I want to spell it ERROR. We're in the throes of an era where young people are exposed to violence, low expectations, unfortunately, peers committing suicide. This is really quite serious. And when you have come on, and as you have come on today, we have reason to smile, we have reason to be happy, we have reason to say happy birthday. But those issues are real. So that you have come for such a time as this. Your name begins with an E, and so does Esther's in the Bible. Do you find that there are times when you have to address some very serious issues with those with whom you interact?
Yes. Half of your puzzle is what's in your head. It's mindset. It's what you understand. It's what you know. It's what you can access in your knowledge, in your rational and logical thinking. It's also how you feel. But sometimes how you feel and how you give meaning to new information and new experiences, there's a filter on that based on how you identify who you are, your experiences, your past knowledge, and that sort of thing. That quote that is attributed to Ford, I think it's Henry Ford, about if you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right.
Right.
So what you're saying as far as these challenges that people have as far as trauma, emotional pain, physical pain, and experiences that are challenging, whether it's resources to, income or opportunity, or level of security as far as food or shelter, those are all things that affect someone's self-awareness. And that self-awareness, if it is good or if it is bad, it will affect how they respond, how they define their state in life and who they are within their circumstances. The puzzle paradigm and the success formula is to help people understand that that is only half of your puzzle. The space that you are in, it may be tragic, it may be harsh, it may be painful, but within your mind, if you are strong and you are positive and you are determined and you will succeed and you believe in yourself, despite your circumstances of the environment, you can overcome it, right? On the flip side, if you are in an affluent environment, you have access to resources, there is a lot of opportunity, but you in your own mind are weak. You don't believe in yourself. You don't have confidence. You don't have drive to pursue a goal because you are already in a affluent and successful environment, do you still succeed?
Wow.
Are you successful or satisfied in what your life is? So regardless of where the strength is,
Yes.
determines how satisfied are you in life. And some people have a strong mind and maybe a harsh environment, but they still become successful. You can flip that, have a strong environment of resources and access to material and knowledge and wealth, but still be very unsuccessful in life because you have a weak mind and drive.
My Lord.
You got to have strength in both.
I do have other questions for that matter. And we're coming near the end of the program, and I want to make sure that we do not get away with your saying what you have come to say and my not neglecting that. But before giving you even that opportunity, let me ask you this question that I think we probably all know the answer to, but I want to hear how it manifests. And that is this: is it often that someone comes to you based upon the recommendation of someone who has been to you? And is it ever surprising what they come to you with because of something you did that you might not have even known you did?
Yeah. When I get referred and I connect with a new person who's seeking my help, I find out who referred me, and I am pleased to, one, be referred because, that referral is based on their trust in my ability to help this person that they have now connected me to. And I've gotten referrals for business consultations. I've gotten referrals for tutoring opportunities. I've gotten referrals from people coming out of the military because they know that I've helped somebody else, with their transition challenge. And, I think what that tells me is that I am doing what I intend.
Yes.
With being a good educator. A good educator is remembered when somebody is put on a path that is significant in where they become or end up in life. They remember who it was who got them on that path, and that sometimes they point to me. And so they refer me to people that they meet later. Well, and I think that more people should recognize that they can be that for other people. Parents,
yes.
Coaches, other teachers, other peoples of influence within the business or private sector.
Yes.
Everybody has that opportunity to be that person who got them on a certain path.
Well, I just you just make me want to ask you where you were in 1954, because in 1954, Mr. Collins grabbed me and he said, "What is wrong with you?" I wanted to be a young gangster. I wanted to be like the big boys. And he put on a patrol belt so that I would direct traffic. And he made some of my friends, quote, patrol boys as well. That was 1954. It is 2024. I have not forgotten Mr. Collins for such a simple act that turned around my entire life. And you're doing it every way. So please allow me to ask, just in case I don't get to it, if there is something you want to make sure we get before you leave us.
Oh, yes. There's so much opportunity to be all you can be, and whatever your dream and goal is. I mean, I'm a veteran. I was in the Army, and my parents were immigrants. And so a lot of this strength of mind and potential is because I grew up with parents who came to America for opportunity. They already had college degrees, but they knew and believed America, you can be whatever you want to be. There's potential and opportunity in America. And like what you were saying, as far as your Waive Your Grades program, you're doing this to honor veterans for the opportunities available to you because of a free environment, right? Freedom to be happy, but you have to pursue it, right? It's life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
Ooh, I love that.
It's not
Pursuit.
life, liberty, and happiness. You have to, one, define what happiness is, and you have the freedom to pursue it. But if you are not happy, why aren't you and you live in America?
Wow. Listen to Brother Louis George Walker.
Well, I want to say that I think what you're saying, all that you're saying is very, very important for people to pursue, and that, asking those questions, and when things say, we're maybe getting confused, that somebody can help straighten us out is definitely a good sentiment to have. And what I want to encourage you to do is, as your book is coming out, would you send us a photo of the cover or a JPEG so we can post it up
definitely do that
on our website and on our Facebook page so that we can promote this to everybody, because you have some good information.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yes.
Now, not only do I want to thank Louis George Walker, now Louis George Walker and DeQuay Wilson are going to accuse me of just saying something. But let me tell Emma Toops on Saturday, June 15th, 2024, that the conversation after the show is so much more profound than I can ever make it, that we're going to invite you back to be interviewed by DeQuay Wilson and Louis George Walker, because I guarantee you what they're receiving from you and what we need to share on the program so much is their thoughts. But I can say in their behalf, thank you for this day and what you're doing. God bless you, Emma Toops.
Thank you so much. I love being on your show. It's always so insightful, and the ability to share common ideas and expand on them is always a great opportunity.
Thank you very, very much. Don't forget, Emma at toopsconsulting.com. Here is DeQuay Wilson.
We'd like to thank you so very much for joining us on your Stoots for Boots Waive Your Grades program. We come to you live every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. Central Standard Time from the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center right here in Kansas City, Missouri. I am your announcer, DeQuay Wilson. Now our host, Carl Boyd, will close with his Carl's commentary on academic patriotism, or his daily message for students in honor of our veterans from his book, Morning Messages.
We do have time for a daily message. To students across the USA, your Stoots for Boots message for this day, June 15th. Warriors take time to plan for their next success to claim. Good students take the summer to fan their academic flame. This is Waive Your Grades, KUAW.org. Louis George Walker, DeQuay Wilson, Carl Boyd, thanking Emma Toops. My name is Carl Boyd. Gracious God and wonderful Wanda, I'm on my way home.